Hello, everybody. This is Bo Morkey. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate that everyone is on. Today's meeting and today's town hall for the entire club is something we've not done. It's our first one, so thanks for being a part of it. The entire purpose is to really examine and go over club values that we have, and you have the entire coaching staff on with Ray and Brandon and myself to go over those. A few things here. We are recording this. It'll be saved as a file, and we'll have it for later use, as well as for maybe the few that aren't going to be on the meeting and weren't able to make it. That being said, now though, Ray, I'm gonna kind of scoot over to Ray here and have him say a few words. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody in this time. You know, I think it's a great thing that we're doing here to get onto this thing, so we're all on the same page, because we all are in it together, as they say on the TV. But, you know, these values I've been with us for 42 years. You know, it's something I started a long time ago, and with the help of our great coaching staff that we even have at this time, those values are still continuing. So I think that's the reason why we want everybody on board, because if you take a look at the values that we do have, they go into, and I was talking about this morning about, you know, even the governor of New York and the state of New York has values. And, you know, in our club, we have tremendous values, which you're going to hear our coaches talk about. And I think it's a great introduction that we have to get into them right away. So again, welcome and thank you. And you'll get to see what we've been doing for the last 42 years, you know, and to strive forward on this. It's not just our club. Every big club, professional club, has values, and we want to give them to you, and so the kids can understand where we're going with this.
Thank you, Ray. I want to kind of give a plan of what we're going to be doing, talking about our 5 main values, which, just to remind everybody, are respect, character, integrity, patience, and teamwork. Rich, Brendan, and Carolina are going to talk to us about respect. Myself and James are going to talk to us about character. Nick and Brandon will talk about integrity. Ricardo and Jason will talk about patience, and Kirk and Ray are going to talk about teamwork. And then after that, what we're going to do is have a bit of a Q&A. If you have any questions during the webinar, there's a little chat section here on the right side of your page. I don't know how you're logging in, where you can type in under chats your questions, and Brandon will sort through those as we move forward, and we'll answer as many of them as we can at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna let Carolina and Rich unmute themselves and jump on here to start talking.
All right, thank you. So I'm gonna begin with you know, patience transforms relationships. All right. So in an environment involving large groups of people with similar goals, there is a definite need to show each other regard for what everyone brings to the table. Being respectful means allowing others to be open about their feelings and actions without criticism. Respect is taking into consideration the hard work your teammates put in and not judging their abilities or lack thereof.
How are you doing, everybody? I'm going to continue where Carolina left off. So respect is allowing teammates their own space so we can all grow without restraints. Respect is heeding advice from your parents and coaches because you understand that they speak from their life experiences. Respect has to be mutual in order for it to be true in giving it as well as receiving it.
And I continue abusing this beautiful game of soccer by cheating. There's a saying in Spanish that I've heard, suda la camiseta. In the literal translation, it means to sweat the jersey. But what it really means, what it really says is respect, showing deference to the emblem you wear on your, not because of how many games or championships you won, but honoring those that came before you and shaped this place where you can live out your soccer dream.
That's great. Moving forward, we have James and myself right now are going to move into to character. You want to go ahead, James?
Yeah, sure. So character for me is the mental and moral qualities that the player has. And I try to think of different qualities and qualities that people had at different teams that I've been a part of or coached. It could be things like, you know, being responsible, funny, being determined, optimistic. And there's lots of different parts of somebody's character, but you need different ones to make. And I think one big question on it would be, how do you as an athlete or a coach act when you are both winning, which is easy, but then when you're losing as well. And I think you really find somebody's character comes out, and you get to know people a lot better when times are hard, like right now, both on and off the field. And part of, you know, something that we as a club are trying to, you know, do with these values and particularly character would be taking it both on the field and off the field as well. So on the field example might be somebody, rallying around the teammates. It might be that you're having a tough game, you're losing. So are you somebody that kind of gives up and just throws their arms up and starts arguing with everybody? Or do you have the character to pick everybody else up and make everybody else better and raise your game? That could translate to school. That could translate, when you leave to go to college. That could translate to work as well. And I know that's something that I look for in a player, and speaking to many college coaches and coaches at academies and things like that. Character is so important because the ability will take you so far, but you need that character to help you take the extra step as well.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that from a coach's perspective. Us as coaches are always trying to model ourselves with the type of character that we want our players to play with on and off the field, as James was talking about. There's going to be lots of different types of characters that we have, but the fact that they carry themselves with a high moral regard, is it only about winning? Sometimes it does get to be like that, but a lot of times it isn't. And long term, when we talk to our alumni like Jason, who's an alumni, Nick, who's a coach now, who's an alumni, and we talk about the winning and losing, they realize it wasn't so much about the winning and losing, and it was trying to do our best to build the best human being holistically as we could. Part of that is having good character. From a coach, though, if we model it, then great. What we're looking for from our players is to have that character. We can't ask for it if we're not going to carry it ourselves. Being on time, following through is huge. So having follow through with what our words are saying and actually following through with it, with our team norms, our team morals, our team values, are all examples of showing good character to our players. And then, yeah, we expect that back from the players. We're also expecting it on and off. When a parent, which happens all the time, to us and says, well, he's doing this or she's doing that off the field and it's affecting her grades or his grades or what, well, that's great. Well, now stay home because we're not going to deal with that. So that's from a coach's perspective, what we believe character to be. Integrity. Who is up?
Integrity is about doing the right thing when nobody is watching. When we talk about integrity, this is, most importantly, it's honoring your word, honoring what you say. As our coaches are out there with you, our coaches are basically expecting you to have that integrity, to be on time, to put in 100% effort, to have goals that you're working on, to do the work that you say you're going to do. Nikki and I are both speaking from this text. I know it's backwards, but it's this book, Legacy by James Kerr. It's a phenomenal book. There's a fantastic chapter in it about integrity. And one thing that James Kerr says is, he says, to know how to win, you first have to know how to lose. So when setbacks occur, integrity prevails. So what we're talking about for players, it means that we can count on you to deliver. And we can count on you to deliver because you're true and faithful to who you are as a person, and what you say is what you're going to do. And as coaches, that's what we expect our players to be able to do. I expect our players to be able to follow up and to stick to their word. If they say they're going to work on a certain skill, or if they're going to work on improving in a certain way, that they're going to go home and do the work. Currently, during this time where people are watching videos and people are doing homework assignments, we are expecting you to do the work. And if you have that integrity, you'll not only do the work, but you'll do the work to your fullest potential. I'm going to let Nick take over from here.
Thanks. So just like Brandon was saying, the vision of a champion is someone who's bent over, drenched in sweat, at the point of exhaustion, when no one else is watching. That was a quote by Anson Dorrance. He was Mia Hamm's head coach at UNC, University of North Carolina, and he saw her working on her own, doing a workout on the track, puking, and no one was there, no one was watching, but that was the work that she was putting in for herself and for her team. And the book Legacy that a lot of the coaches are reading right now, it has, like Brandon said, a great part about integrity. And there's going to be times in the game where you're going to need to be there to help your teammate when your teammate's down, to cover for your teammate. And your teammate's going to need to trust that you're going to do the same thing for him. And if you can't trust your teammate can't trust you. You're not a unit. And a great quote from the book, it says, it compares it almost to a bicycle wheel. If there are spokes missing in a bicycle wheel, it's less efficient. If all the spokes are in place, it's as efficient as it could possibly be. Integrity means that all spokes are in place at all times. So the question that it leads me to ask is, are you going to be there for your teammate? Is your teammate going to be there for you? Are your coaches going to be there for you? If all the pieces are there together and everyone can trust the action of the other person, well, that's a full team.
Well said. Ricardo and Jason, who wants to go first?
I'll start by saying that patience is the most important prerequisite of talent development here at EasternFC. I have witnessed it myself as a parent with my two children, Ariel and Ricardo Jr. We believe that, from our personal experience and through seeing so many players, that players develop and mature technically, athletically, tactically at different speed. And the players who will develop over the long term are players who attend training, work hard, pay attention to detail, and compete to become better over time. This process could take years, and those that exhibit patience during this soccer development process will definitely reap the benefit in the long term. There's no shortcuts, there's no magic formulas, there's no need to compare players. Those that work hard over time and dedicate themselves to the craft of becoming soccer players will succeed in the long term. I also do believe that parents play a very important role here in trusting the process that we have here at Eastern FC and supporting us. To me personally, patience is key. There's no development without patience.
Patience for me personally is one of the more important values in my personal life as well as in soccer. I think during these times that we're living in, our patience is being tested to the max, especially for the kids who are used to being outside all the time and with their friends and at practice and that. It's easy to get upset. It's easy to get angry. I think, though, that being patient doesn't mean not doing anything. And as we're getting on our webinars and we're doing the weekly challenges, I think that everyone can still give 100%, even though there are limitations to kind of where we are now. Being patient is going to be tested. You're being tested now. Every single player will be tested in the future, whether you're playing in high school, college, maybe you're not the fastest, maybe you're coming back from an injury. You have to be patient, but remembering that patience and making sure you're doing the right things day in and day out are going to make you not only a better soccer player, but a better person off the field as well.
Thanks, Jason. Now we have Ray and Kirk. Kirk and Ray, who's going to go first?
We're going to talk about teamwork. Obviously, those values we've had described to us so far are key for individual development. And if individuals are pushing that through with what they do, then as together as a team is bringing those values together and really pushing on. I suppose at this moment in time, it's calling on our communities, our societies to really work as a team when these tough times that we're all facing at the moment. But as we all know, team can be broken down, as you've all heard that expression, together everyone achieves more. And I can reflect, and no doubt all people with experience, no matter what walk of life you've been involved in the team, the most successful teams is about people who commit to each other from a partnership perspective and are prepared to work hard for each other and achieve the goals that are being set before them. So teamwork is important because we're going to learn to be a good teammate from each other and from those around us. So when we teach teamwork, it can happen both on and off the field, and it starts by helping kids understand what teamwork is and how to practice and being a good teammate and celebrating good sportsmanship, etc., with regards to how you carry yourself. As we all say, we all want leaders as part of our team. We all want 11, 12, 18 leaders, and all those values involved in leadership are what are integral about being an individual and being part of being a team, and that individual being a value member in that team. So teamwork's about cooperating, coordinating the effort, understanding what the common goal is, creating a positive environment for each other, being strong together to bounce off each other to form how we need to perform. And the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts is true. Together we're stronger than we are individually. So there's no one person going to make a team. It's a group effort. What makes a successful team is being positive. You've got to believe you can achieve, and you've got to believe and want to achieve. And that's all stems with positive outlook. Having trust among each other, you've got to trust each other. We're all in this together, and we have to believe in each other, and with that comes trust, which then obviously you want to support each other, and be there for each other to help them. And we've all got to be striving to be better. We can't just think we're doing enough. There's always something more we can be doing. And then with that, if you're doing that, you're accepting responsibility, your part in making that team work. And with that, if we're all on that same page, we can provide encouragement for each other. So those elements are key, because once we start understanding, and I know, once you get that environment and that chemistry amongst you as a group, you'll be very very surprised how much you can achieve. And as we've said, at the best teams I've been, I haven't necessarily had the best teams, but together we've been a formidable force. So as we think about how to be a good teammate, it takes work, and you've got to be supportive and cheering and encouraging each other on the sideline, letting each other know you appreciate how hard each other are training, how hard each other are trying, staying positive. We're all going to make mistakes, part and parcel of what we do, but it's learning from it and encouraging your teammates to learn from it and be better from it rather than dwell on it. Talk to each other. Great teams communicate well to each other, both on and off the field. Talk to each other. This is what I don't see a lot of, groups of players in the same team talking about, well, hang on a minute, when we get in this situation, this is how we're going to work better together if we can do A, B, or C. We don't tend to do that as a group. I don't see it in a lot of teams that you observe. So be more proactive, working together. And then be a good example. You don't need to have, an armband on your shirt to set the example for the team. Everybody can influence each other by how you carry yourself and how you carry those values forward. So encourage each other to be good teammates. And if somebody says, hey, we need to be doing this, and it's right, let's get on the same train, because together you'll be a much stronger force. I'm going to hand it over to Ray now.
Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, good job. Good job. Let's just keep that going. I'll be a little quicker than Kurt. It will continue that, at home and in life. These are the values that shape us and define us. It's not just teamwork isn't just for sport, it's not just for sports, it's for everyday life. And that's what we're trying to do. Let's put it in perspective. Let's put teamwork in perspective. Observing any great team, it's obvious how connected the players are. Great teams only get to a point through the hard work, and they accomplish that work all together. No one player can carry a team on their own. Training will be exhausting. The physical demands can test a player, players resolve, and these can be shared experience that helps the team grow together, and trust and loyalty among the team and the club. We talk about the club. What I'd like to see you guys do is communicate with each other. That means say hello to each other when you see them. Don't just walk by them, say hello, respect the other players, shake hands with them. If you go to a game and your game's finished, stay and support that team. Stay and support our players. That's what it is. That's about encouraging as a teammate. We all represent the badge. Let's all get involved to be part of ESC family. Let's not just wear the badge, and let's walk the walk. Let's talk the talk. That's what we need to be doing. That's what teamwork is.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, coaches. Anything else you want to jump in and say quickly, please let me know. Right now, if anybody has any questions, just a friendly reminder. I know people got on a little after we announced it, but if there's any questions, which we hope there are some, because we have everyone here and it's a chance we're taking time out to be with everyone. So feel free to, ask away. Just type it into the little text box here side where your questions may be, and we'll do our best to answer them. Right now, I'm going to put Ray on, and there, Ray, I'm going to give you two questions.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Which is really, something just to kind of expound upon all of the values that we just talked about. Regarding all of the values we just talked about, what can the parents and players expect from the club is the first question. Okay. And then the second question is, what does the club expect from the parents and the players, specifically around all of those values, right, on and off the field?
Okay, so let's go to the first one. What can the parents and players expect from the club, Bo? We're a club deep in history. A lot of history in our club. 42 years is a long time in any business. I don't care what walk of life or what business you have. 42 years, must be doing something right along those tracks. And I'll point out one of the values that we have is a good coaching staff, a great coaching staff. They're in it for the same reasons. That's why we're all on this. We're all in it for the same goals. Without the club values, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be 42 years ahead of it. And by what do the parents expect out of that? By you joining our club, which is a family, your child will end up being a well-rounded character, on and off the field, to be a well-rounded person at the end of it. And I think Ricardo touched on it before. It's just not a quick fix. It takes time, and those who stay at it, you'll see the difference at the end of it. Us as a club, what's a parent expecting from the club? Well, I've been a parent in the club, and I know what it's like because my son went through. What I want him to do? I want him to become get to college, get an education, be a well-rounded student. Where you're going to go and what road you're going to go down, who knows what road you're going to go down. But at least you can have those values to bring with you through life. And I think they're life's lessons. and that's what we all need to have. So let's go to that second one, Bo.
Yeah.
Second question: what what does the club expect from the
Right.
parents? Well, I think the parents should strive to know that your child is in great hands. They're in really good hands with the coaches that we have, both on and off the field. Whether we're in Europe, whether we're going overseas, whether we're going to a tournament, they see the way we do. We're organized, we're disciplined, we're going through all of those factors that we have, and we strive. There is a pathway for your child, whether it's to college, whether it's to just a great job. It's just giving those characters a chance, and that's what we pride ourselves on. I started that 42 years ago with 3 little things: pride, professionalism, and passion. And at 42 years, that last word, I know I still have the passion. Brendan Beck wants me to retire and go down to Florida, but I'm not going to do that. That's where it comes into passion. I'm going to stay here and make sure that this thing ticks over. But Bo, why don't you talk about the ending there?
Well,
and talk about maybe some of our players.
Yeah. So a perfect example, when Ricardo was talking and I was thinking about it, I just had an assignment with the team that I'm coaching currently right now, and one of the players, and he's on here now, was talking about how I gave them an assignment of what was your journey through Eastern, and because now my guys are 18, 19 years old, and a lot of them have at least 7-8 years in the club, and so the amount of different answers, and I wanted to read what they felt in their eyes, in their words, what their journey was, and it's interesting to read them all. One of them is from a young man who his older brother came through the club. He now is finishing up his last year in the club, senior in high school, and talked about how he joined the club, had an amazing fun time, won a ton of games up until about U12. Team changed a little bit, 13, 14, 15. He talks about being in the NPL, and his team at that time didn't win the game at all. 0. He went 3 years in the club and didn't win a game. He maybe won 1 tournament and didn't win a game. But he leaned on the coaching staff. He leaned on the fact that his brother had been through the same process and now was playing soccer in college. He wasn't sure at that 12, 13, 14-year-old age if he was going to be a college player or not. And then the team changed again at 15, 16 years old. And with that, started winning with the Jefferson Cup, won that. MPL, finished top 2 or 3. At his freshman year, U15, we had James's team went to nationals, and for the second year in a row, U17, then U18. And when they were U18, we made it to the actual national final and lost 2-1. But we brought this young man to play on that team because not the entire team couldn't make it. We had a couple spots open. We didn't want to go without 18 guys, and we took him. And he referenced that in his journey, and that it was amazing, and it sparked a new passion, as Ray was talking about, in his playing, and kept him going. His high school team wasn't a very good high school team. He was all Western New England, all region, as in terms of a player. And now on this final team, last year we went to nationals again, so it's 2 trips for him to nationals in the past 3 years, with 2 different teams. And now this final year, we'll see how this year ends. But this young man isn't going to be a college soccer player, but he has a full scholarship for pre-med to Princeton University. And that's, I think, what Coach Ray and everyone is talking about in terms of our values and what they really mean. He's not, this player and other players are not going to remember the wins and losses at 10, 11, and 12, and 13. They're going to remember the vibe of the team. They're going to remember what the team was about. But when they do leave, and like now Jason and Nick, who are coming back because of the passion, when they do leave, when our players do leave and become alumni, if they carry the values that we try to instill in them here, then that means we've done a good job and we've been successful, which could mean not a lot of wins, and it could mean tons of wins. Just depends. With that, I'm going to end there. Ray, is there something else?
Nothing really. I'd just like to thank everybody. And again, going through what we're all going through and where we are, we pray. We pray we can get back outside again and be all together again. But again, we're in these trying times. I think we all should just be safe, listen to the authorities, do it the proper way, and we'll get through it all together. I did make a nice, I don't know if you could see it, I did make a nice plate. It's a paper. I used to use these in tournaments for paper plate awards, but I did put that on there if anybody could read it. It says, we are all in this together. And that's a good sign even for our team too. So, that's something we've all been together. And I think that, the coaching staff I'd like to thank for all being on it and putting your effort into it and keeping our kids busy in these trying times.
No, thank you guys. Are there any questions out there before we sign off here? Everyone, on behalf of the club, thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it. And for those who weren't here, we'll have it saved for everyone on our website down the line. Thanks a lot. Take care.